Davao City, officially known as the City of Davao, is a first-class highly urbanized city in the Davao region, Philippines. The city is the largest city in the Philippines in terms of land area. It is the third most populous city in the Philippines after Quezon City and Manila, and the most populous in Mindanao. Davao City are also known as follows: King City of the South, Crown Jewel of Mindanao, Durian Capital of the Philippines. It is geographically situated in the province of Davao del Sur, but the city is governed and administered independently from it. The region's name is derived from its Bagabo origins. The Bagabos were indigenous to the Philippines. The word Davao came from the phonetic blending of three Bagabo subgroups names for the Davao River, a major waterway emptying into the Davao Gulf near the city. The Aboriginal Obos, who inhabit the hinterlands of the region, called the river Davao, with a gentle vowel ending, although later pronunciation is with a hard V, or B. The Klata, or Diangan called it Dawa, and the Tagabawas called it Dabo. To the Obos, Davao also means, a place beyond the high grounds, alluding to settlements at the mouth of the river surrounded by high, rolling hills. The area of what is now Davao City was once a lush forest inhabited by nomadic peoples such as the Bagabos and Matigsulugs, alongside other ethnic groups such as the Eda, Maguindanao and the Tausug. Davao River was then called Taglock River by the Bagabos, Maguindanaons and Tausugs, who then inhabited a settlement near the mouth of the river to the sea around what is now Bolton Riverside due immediately southwest of the city plaza. In 1543, Spanish explorers on sailing ships led by Ruy Lopez de Villalobos deliberately avoided the area around Davao Gulf, then called Gulf of Taglock, due to the danger posed by fleets of Moro warships operating in the area while surveying the southeastern coast of Mindanao for possible colonization, and as a result the Davao Gulf area remained virtually untouched by European explorers for the next 3 centuries. A Maguindanaon Dadu under the name Dadu Bago was rewarded the territory of the surroundings of Davao Gulf by the Sultan of Maguindanao Sultanate for joining the campaign against the Spanish in the late 1700s. From his ancestral home in Maguindanao, he moved to the area in 1800 and, having convinced Bagabos and other native groups in the area to his side, conquered the entire Davao Gulf area. Having consolidated his position, he founded the fortress of Pinagurasan in what is now the site of Bangkarohan Public Market in 1830, which served as his capital. From being a fortification and base of operations from which Dadu Bago could gather and rally his forces, the settlement of Pinagurasan eventually grew into a small city. As Maguindanaons and Bagabos alike among other nearby tribes in the area flocked into the settlement, eventually becoming the main trade entrepot in the Davao Gulf area. With his immense overlordship of the Davao Gulf, Dadu Bago was eventually crowned sultan by his subjects at his capital Pinagurasan in 1843, effectively making his realm virtually independent from the Sultanate of Maguindanao and is now itself a sultanate that lords over the Davao Gulf, now in equal standing with the Mindanao Muslim kingdoms of Maguindanao and Sulu. Although the Spaniards began to explore the Davao Gulf area as early as the 16th century, Spanish influence was negligible in the Davao region until 1842, when the Spanish Governor-General of the Philippines Narciso Claveria ordered the colonization of the Davao Gulf region, including what is now Davao City, for the Spanish crown. Davao Gulf seemed to be a tempting target among Spanish military circles based in Manila for its thriving maritime trade taking place there. Their initial forays began with their incursion on the village of Sigaboy in 1842, from which the local Spanish officials who recently landed there immediately demanded heavy tribute on the natives, who then asked for Dadu Bago's help in expelling the Spaniards, which he responded swiftly by sending a combined naval and land force in the area to defeat and drive out the Spanish force there. The Spanish, whom they saw Dadu Bago as a mere pirate and brigand, didn't take the threat seriously for years despite the numerous defeats they have suffered under his hands, until the burning of the Spanish trading vessel San Rufo. which carried a letter of friendship from Sultan Iskandar Kudaratullah Muhammad Zamal al-Azam of Maguindanao to Governor-General Claveria, and its massacre of all its crew by seaborne corsairs under orders from Dadu Bago himself in 1846. Incensed with the incident, the Spanish secured the consent from the Sultan of Maguindanao, who finally disowned the Moros of the Davao Gulf by using the incident as pretext for justification to conquer the area. Thus official Spanish colonization of Davao Gulf finally began in earnest in April 1848. When an expedition of 70 men and women led by José Cruz de Uyungaran, of Vergara, Spain, landed on the estuary of the Davao River the same month, intent on conquering Pinagurasan, the capital of Dadu Bago's domain, in the hopes of permanently ending the menace posed on Spanish vessels by Moro raiders in the Davao Gulf. Being the strongest chieftain in the region, Dadu Bago imposed heavy tribute on the Mandaya tribes nearby, therefore also making him the most loathed chieftain in the region. Cruz de Uyungaran has orders from the higher authorities in Manila to colonize the Davao Gulf region, which included the Bagabo settlement on the northern riverbank. In return, he asked for the position of the governor of the conquered area and granted the monopoly of its commerce for 10 years. At this juncture, a Mandaya chieftain named Dadu Dapan, who then ruled Samal Island, came to him, seeking for an alliance against Dadu Bago. The two chieftains were arch-rivals, and Cruz de Uyungaran took advantage of it, initiating an alliance between Spain and the Mandayas of Samal Island. Intent on taking the settlement for Spain, he and his men accordingly assaulted it, but the Bagabo natives fiercely resisted the attacks, which resulted in his Samal Mandaya allies to retreat and not fight again. Thus, a 3-month-long inconclusive battle for the possession of the settlement ensued, which was only decided when an infantry company which sailed its way by warships from Zamboanga came in as reinforcements, thus ensuring the takeover of the settlement and its surroundings by the Spaniards, while the defeated Bagabos fled further inland, while Dadu Bago and his followers fled north to Hio, officially known as the city of Tagum, today, and capital of the Davao del Norte, where he would die 2 years later. After Cruz de Uyungaran defeated Dadu Bago and conquered Pinagurasan, he founded the town of Nueva Vergara, the future Davao, in the mangrove swamps of what is now Bolton Riverside on June 29, 1848, in honor of his home in Spain and becoming its first governor. Pinagurasan was then incorporated into the new town. Almost 2 years later, on February 29, 1850, the province of Nueva Gipuzkoa was established via a royal decree, with the newly founded town as the capital, once again to honor his homeland in Spain. The province of Nueva Gipuzkoa was dissolved on July 30, 1860, as it became the politico-military commandery of Davao. By the clamor of its natives, a petition was given to the Spanish government to eventually rename Nueva Vergara into Davao, since they have called the town as the latter long from the time of its founding. It was eventually done in year 1867, and the town Nueva Vergara was officially given its present name Davao. The Spanish control of the town was unstable at best, as its Lumad and Moro natives routinely resisted the attempts of the Spanish authorities to forcibly resettle them and convert them into Christians. Despite all these, however, such were all done in the goal of making the governance of the area easier, dividing the Christians, both settlers and native converts, and the Muslim Moros into several religion-based communities within the town. As the Americans began their administration of the town in 1900, economic opportunities quickly arose as huge swaths of its areas, mainly lush forests and fertile grasslands, were declared open for agricultural investment. Davao turned into huge plantations of coconut and banana products. In just a short period, Davao changed from a small and sparsely inhabited town into a bustling economic center serving mainly the Davao Gulf region, heavily populated alongside natives. All of this led the port of Davao to be established and opened the same year, in order to facilitate the international export of agricultural products from Davao. Davao was incorporated as a part of Moro Province from 1903 to 1914. When the province was dissolved in 1914, it led to the establishment of Davao Province, with Davao Town as its provincial capital. Because of the rapidly increasing progress of the town, on March 16, 1936, Congressman Romualdo Quimpo from Davao filed Bill 609, passed as Commonwealth Act 51, creating the city of Davao from the town of Davao and the municipal district of Dionga. The bill called for the appointment of local officials by the President. Davao was inaugurated as a charter city on October 16, 1936, by President Manuel L. Quezon. The charter came into effect on March 1, 1937. It was one of the first two towns in Mindanao to be converted into a city, the other being Zamboanga. On December 8, 1941, Japanese planes bombed the harbor, and from December 20 they landed forces and began an occupation of the city which lasted to 1945. Davao was among the earliest to be occupied by Japanese forces, and the city was immediately fortified as a bastion of Japanese defense. The city was subjected to extensive bombing by forces led by Douglas MacArthur before American forces landed in Leyte in October 1944. The Battle of Davao towards the end of World War II was one of the longest and bloodiest battles during the Philippine liberation, and brought tremendous destruction to the city, setting back the economic and physical strides made before the Japanese occupation. Davao regained its status as the agricultural and economic hub of Mindanao after the war ended in 1945. Wood products such as plywood and timber, and more agricultural products being produced within the city, such as copra and other varieties of banana, became available for export. Davao was peaceful and increasingly progressive in the post-war period, including the 1950s and the mid-1960s. In 1967, the province of Davao was divided into three provinces: Davao del Norte, Davao Oriental and Davao del Sur. The city of Davao became part of Davao del Sur. No longer the provincial capital, it became a commercial center of southern Mindanao. This period also saw the first ever election of the Davao city. The biggest celebration native to the city is the Kadayawan Festival in early to mid-August, which, in pre-colonial times, was a celebration of the harvest. Today, it serves to commemorate the cultures of the indigenous tribes that inhabit the area surrounding Davao City. Many tribes people visit the city during this time. The 182 barangays of Davao City are arranged according to the 3 legislative districts and 11 administrative districts of the city. Davao City is the center of Metro Davao, the second most populous metropolitan area in the Philippines. The city serves as the main trade, commerce, and industry hub of Mindanao, and the regional center of Davao Region. Davao is home to Mount Apo, the highest mountain in the Philippines.